I didn't open it for like 9 hours because it was draft night, so I had a ton of messages, and I didn't see it until the next day. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was scared. Nick, you can't play this card anymore, buddy. Absolutely not. You tried to say that in the first block when we opened the show. Frank Clark is going to demolish these tackles. You got a rookie in Tristan Wirfs. You highlighted him. You said he had a great year as a rookie. But this guy already went through it. He was scared to open up an Instagram message from the GOAT, Tom Brady. He's past that now. But I find it very interesting that this dude was so afraid to open up his message. So Tristan Wirfs' story coming out about Tom Brady.
Godwin hasn't blocked on Instagram, Wilds. That's what I heard.
All right, we got some bad news coming out of the All-Star game, because here is how I see our options. We're either going to have the All-Star game, and it's going to be terrible, or we're going to cancel it, and here's why. First off, John Wall. We're going to go from calm to extreme. John Wall says, I don't really agree with having the All-Star game. And everybody was like, okay, John Wall, thanks for input. Then De'Aaron Fox said, to be brutally honest, I think it's stupid. And like, all right, ratchet it up a little bit. Now, LeBron last night, I got zero energy and zero excitement about an All-Star game this season. I think it's a slap in the face to the players to have it. So, look, the main problem with the All-Star game for about 2 decades is that there was a lack of energy, effort, and overall caring. So we played with the format and it got better. But now, LeBron doesn't want to play in the All-Star game. Everyone's going to take their cues from LeBron, and if LeBron doesn't want to play in it, if the game happens, it's going to be terrible. So I think the NBA, Nick, should reconsider having this now that the leader of the entire league has spoken.
I agree with that. I also agree with what I'm about to say. Our long national nightmare is almost over, folks. There's a drought in this country, and one that's not talked about nearly enough. The back-to-back Super Bowl drought, unprecedented of any era. The 60s had the Packers. The 70s had the Dolphins, the Steelers, and the Steelers again. The 80s had the Niners. The 90s had the Cowboys and the Broncos. The aughts had the Patriots. And now it's been 16 plus years since we've had a team go back-to-back. The longest drought the NFL's ever seen, almost by a factor of 2. Thankfully, Jenna, that ends roughly 62 hours from now. Now, there won't be a parade like this one. But I know many of you have been as concerned as I've been. When are we going to see the next back-to-back Super Bowl champions? Well, we're about to on Sunday night, and then we can focus on other things once that drought has finally ended, Jenna.
All right, we'll see about that. Hey, guys, Marshall football did something this week that made me so proud. They made their strength and conditioning coach available to the media. Take a listen.
Let's go get this mug. All right, I'm going to teach you how to do this after this. It's herd jacks. Here's what we do. We say herd jacks, team ready, you say ready. We say herd jacks, team ready, you say ready. Herd exercise. H-E-O-D. Herd head. Let's go to work.
Woo. This is a thing. One can get up at a podium and say words to other people who cover sports, and then they will exercise. I would like to do this thing. I would like to have this thing happen where I speak to Nick, who covers sports, and I raise my voice, and he does the exercise. This is 20 pounds. It's nothing. I love this thing. Go Thundering Herd. I'm all in on Marshall this year. It's so good. It's so fun. I'm in it. 20 on each side.
She's still going.
We're going.
Guys.
We got 3 hours, 2 hours.
On
We're
Sunday.
in. We're all in.
No, stop.
Okay, speaking of the Super Bowl. All right, possible, probable MVP, Patrick Mahomes, looking for Super Bowl MVP number 2. He's the favorite, followed by Tom Brady, who's already got 4. 4 is more than 2. Random line. Brandon, which quarterback needs to have an MVP performance for their team to win on Sunday, Mahomes or Brady?
Mahomes for sure. You got to think about the tale of 2 different run games. In Tampa, they're going to be balanced and they're going to throw the ball, but they're going to run the ball. They're going to lean heavy on the run game. You saw them do it against the Saints. You saw them do it against Green Bay. And that helped them out a lot. It opened up the field. When you look at Kansas City and what they're up against, and I said it yesterday, don't even try to run the ball. So what does that mean? everything is going to be on Mahomes in that passing game. And it's always come down to them. But the problem is you got a banged-up offensive line, and you got Shaq Barrett, you got Sue, and you got JPP bearing down on you. That's a problem. So we're going to see Mahomes at his greatest, or we're going to see Mahomes at his worst. I truly believe this could be the most frustrated we've ever seen Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Eric Bieniemy, because now they can get to you with 4, and now you got so many guys in coverage, and if those guys are communicating the right way, it's going to be problems. First half, week 12, lights out. You had a receiver, Tyreek Hill, go for 203 yards in the first quarter. Like, that's more yards than I had in my all-time game. And then the second half, they switched it up. Soft zones, backing up, don't let anybody behind you. And they struggled a little bit, Nick. So I truly believe if Mahomes get it done, which we know there's a good chance he will be MVP. But it's going to be trouble for him when you turn on this game Sunday because of who he's going up against in these individual matchups, defensively versus offense.
All right, well, so Brandon's absolutely right that Mahomes has to play like an MVP for the Chiefs to win. That is why the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Bucs might have a couple different paths. So the answer to the question is undoubtedly Mahomes. Luckily, he will. And there is an under-the-radar storyline that happened 12 days ago. And there's an under-the-radar storyline that's going to happen 1 day from now. The one 12 days ago that we all got over quite quickly was the utter, total, and complete evisceration of a 13-3 Buffalo Bills team by Patrick Mahomes, when he had arguably his best playoff game ever, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 128 passer rating, a perfect football game against a 13-3 team in a week he couldn't even practice because of the concussion protocol. But Wilds, more importantly, is what's happening tomorrow night. Because I know you think I've been jotting down fake bulletin board material. I'm going to give you some real bulletin board material. Do you know what happens tomorrow night, Kevin Wilds? The NFL has a fancy ceremony. And at that ceremony, they're going to announce who the league MVP is. And you know whose name they're not going to say? Patrick Mahomes. And you know who I know verifiably, and after the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I can probably elaborate more on this, is furious about that? Patrick Mahomes. So if you need a little extra chip on your shoulder, a little extra, oh, they doubted me motivation, he's going to get it about 18 hours before kickoff when they announce Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. So Patrick Mahomes, who has played one bad playoff half in his career, I think is going to play like an MVP. Pass rush be damned, and the Chiefs definitely need him to play like an MVP in order to win.
Okay. So do you think the fact that he's not getting the MVP is keeping him up at night? And if you do, it might be time for America's favorite segment of football previews called Nightmare Fuel. That's right, folks. Nightmare Fuel for Patrick Mahomes is back. These are the things that will keep Patrick Mahomes up at night. Hit the thunder and the lightning. The first one, 25 minutes of terror. Oh, it sounds like a terrible Disney ride. It is not. What it is the stat that is this. Mahomes is 2-6. When he doesn't have the ball for at least 25 minutes. So he's sitting in his bed. He's like, what if I'm just sitting on the bench the whole time? What if Leonard Fournette just keeps on running the ball and we don't get the ball back? Nightmare fuel would be terrible for Patrick Mahomes. Oh, I didn't even get the MVP. I don't even get to play in the Super Bowl. Number 2, Todd Bowles' Frankenstein game plan. What does that mean? It means you take a little bit from each team. Oh, how did the Raiders win? Surprise, surprise. They control time possessions. How about the Broncos? What did they do? Oh, red zone defense. Harrison Butker kicked 5 field goals, and Tyreek Hill had a touchdown that even he didn't want to count. What was the other one? Oh, the Falcons. They only scored 17 points against the Falcons. It's all those simulated scary blitzes. Number 3, not only an odd-looking Reebok shoe, Shaq Attack. Forced fumble, Nick. You were very worried about it. Shaq Barrett gets on the field, forces a fumble. False security is job security. That's what I tell my children every night.
Yours and mine.
It keeps them, it gives sweet dreams. Here it is. Oh, Ball's loose. And finally, and this is the weird one. No one's talking about this, but it happens every single Super Bowl. The poltergeist play. Everyone thinks they can plan out the Super Bowl. It never works that way. You got Leon Lett, you got Malcolm Butler, you got James Harrison, you got a helmet catch, you got the Philly special, you got the lights going on. You got weird stuff happening. It's always something weird going on. So, Nick, those are the 4 things. Are you worried about any of them? As I know, and I'll elaborate on this after the Super Bowl, perhaps I'll also elaborate that I think Patrick Mahomes is very nervous about the nightmare fuel.
Mahomes is texting and tweeting all of us.
I'm just a little.
About the tale of 2 different run games. In Tampa, they're going to be balanced and they're going to throw the ball, but they're